Hey, good afternoon, my friends. I'm going to give it a couple minutes before I get deep into the topic. So I give you guys a chance to like, share the video, because when Facebook starts up a new video session, it takes a while for it to tell everybody about it. So it's not the best thing to start deep into your content right away. But today's topic is really for those of you who have thought about starting a business but have really not felt confident enough or sure enough, or whatever the word you want to use is, to get started in your particular venture. And so I was going to tell you a little bit about starting my business, and also what I've learned since then, to basically help you and help other people kind of know what it does to kind of get out of the gate and not make as many mistakes, if you will, as I did when I was starting off my business. First of all, I started my business in 1998. I worked for I guess I can say it now, I worked for IBM Global Services, and I had just kind of what I thought had peaked in my particular position, and something became available, and I proposed, the company that I was going to work for wanted to know what my hourly rate, what would be an acceptable hourly rate for me, and I kind of chewed on that for a while, talked it over with my wife, and put out a number out there I thought was ridiculous, that nobody in their right mind would pay me for that particular thing. And turns out they did, and that was 17, 18 years ago. It's 19, 17, probably, I keep saying 17, but I think it's 19 now. You have to check me on that. That was towards the middle to the end of 1998. Fast forward a little bit, gave my 30 days notice at IBM, and then I was off on my own, traveling around the world doing consulting on mainframes. And I've gone through a couple of different iterations, but now we are primarily a digital marketing and lead generation company. And I do a lot of public speaking to different groups of business owners. Some of them have decades of experience. Some of them are wanting to get into business for the first time. And there's a variety of tips they ask them, but more often than not, they're not really asking the right questions. So I'm going to kind of run through here real quick and answer some of the right questions that you should be asking. First of all, it's kind of funny. More often than not, people ask, what should I be doing? And that's only really a question that you can answer. What should you be doing? Heck, I don't know what you should be doing. I don't even know what you're good at. But something that you're good at that you would not making money at. And I would tell you not to look for the, not to look for the perfect thing, but to just find something that you're going to have fun doing on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to tell you that may not be the same thing, 20 or 30 years down the line in your business. I've probably gone through 2 or 3 different iterations of what we do here, because what juiced me, what got me excited about running a business isn't the same today as it was 20 some odd years ago. Let's use 20, let's use 2 decades, just to use a good round number. Back then, I was really okay with sitting down behind a computer all day long and getting into the techie stuff and doing coding and database work. Now that stuff, I absolutely despise that stuff. I would rather be either on TV, doing Facebook Lives with you, or, what was I going to say, or on stage speaking. And you can see some examples of my speaking stuff over my YouTube. I don't really want to push that too much, but those are the things I would rather do now. I'd rather talk about the process and the excitement of business versus in the beginning I was more in the actual techie side of the business. So that may evolve. Then probably the next thing that comes to mind when it comes to starting up a business, the advice I would give somebody after you figure out what you want to do, is to figure out how to do that one thing and do it very well, and outsource or subcontract or delegate everything else. This is something that I really wish that I had known early on in my business, is to basically how to make sure I do that one thing and do it perfect, do it well. Will Smith calls it laying, don't build a wall, lay that brick by brick and just do each one perfectly. I wished early on I had a virtual assistant in the office to keep track of my emails and book my travel. I wish I had a real assistant to take care of accounting. I wish my assistant had gone and checked the mail and then taken the checks and done bank deposits and talked with my accountant. I wish I had done all that from day one. I wish I had even an assistant to help me with marketing. Like I could say, these are the things we need to do for marketing, and while I'm on the road traveling, can you do these things for me. And that would not even have to be someone that has to be in your office. That person could work from home. Everyone has a virtual assistant nowadays. So that's just a really easy thing to do. And that way I would have marketing happening while I was out on the road. Like a lot of people, when I first started my business, and I was a solopreneur on the road, I was responsible for everything from washing the toilets to getting the bank deposits to checking the mail to handling marketing to actually doing the work. And you can only do one of those things very well at a time. So when I'm on the road, over in Spain for 6 weeks, which happened, my accounting work's not getting done. I'm not keeping up with the emails. I'm not marketing myself for a future engagement. When I'm at home doing the marketing, some other things are not getting done. So as soon as you can in your business, delegate as much as possible. That's the other advice I would give you. And it's going to take a little while for you to find the right people to trust to give all that delegation to, and that's completely natural also. I am a person that does not trust easily, especially when it comes to numbers and money stuff, so that's perfectly normal for me to not trust someone, but you have to eventually. That's the really only way you're going to grow. Solopreneurs, there are I'm not going to say that there's none, but there are very few solopreneurs that go into the millions and millions of dollars because you cannot do it by yourself. And by solopreneur, I'm not talking a single person with a bunch of assistants. I'm talking about someone who does every single thing in the business. A really good book, which I've recommended time and time again on this, is Sales 80-20 in Sales and Marketing by Perry Marshall. And if you want to learn how to make more money or be more productive with your time, that would be a great book to get right there. So far we've talked about what to do in your business and what you should kind of subcontract and outsource to. And the last thing for this particular video, and by the way, if you have any questions, please do me a favor and share them down here. They'll pop up on the screen. I can answer them. And also, if you would go ahead and share this video, I would really appreciate it also. The last thing of the 3 points I'm going to cover today is what you should be doing in your business. Is I would say that put a heavy emphasis on sales and marketing. And what I mean is oftentimes, and this was the case with me, when you go out on your own in business, you are a solopreneur and you get that first client and that one big client and you're so jazzed and that client keeps you busy for months and you don't have a care in the world because you're making bank, you're getting paid on a regular basis, and you're not really worried about the next client or the next client. But from the moment that you have a stable client, you need to be working on the second stable client and the third stable client and the fourth stable client. How many clients should you have? I'm not really sure there's a limit, but I know what? You know how many clients should you not have? One. Having one single client is the death wish for a business. And again, I've made this mistake over and over, and I've learned from it. Never, ever have one single client. If I don't have at least 5 clients, so my income risk is spread out, let's assuming that every single client's paying me the same, if we are not marketing for at least 5 different other businesses, I get kind of antsy. I like 10 to 15 if possible, but anything marketing less than 5 different clients to me is an unsafe territory to be in. So when you first start off your business, you are going to have to get good in sales and marketing, or it's going to have to be one of those first things that you subcontract or outsource. And that would just be a matter of you finding someone who's really good at doing lead generation for your own business. They go out there, they find the people that are casually interested in what you're trying to sell, and then you're responsible for coming up, doing the cleanup work, making sure that you actually close the deals, get them in the pipeline. Then you can kind of hand them off to your assistant again to get set up while you do the actual work for the client. So that would be my first 3 tips on this video right here. Number 1, finding out what you do as soon as possible. Do me a favor and do not get fascinated with entrepreneurship for the sake of entrepreneurship. Right now, it seems really trendy for people to call themselves a serial entrepreneur, or I am when you ask somebody, and like even on business cards I've seen this, and it's ridiculous. When you ask somebody what do they do for a living, like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. When you say you're an entrepreneur, you're not saying crap. Saying you're an entrepreneur does not say what you do. I think oftentimes when you say you're an entrepreneur, that's another way of saying you're unemployed. And you're not an entrepreneur. It just kind of says that you have started a business. When you say what you do, it should actually involve the how you solve the problems for people. So here's an accidental 4th tip. When you are an entrepreneur and you do say, and people do ask you what you do, don't say I am a web developer, or I am a plumber, or I am a coder, or I'm a web designer. You're going to describe the problems you solve. People come to me when they want to have an outstanding brand, or people come to me when they want to generate more leads on their particular business. So kind of describe your business that way also. But getting back to our first 3 tips, figure out what you're going to do, number 1. outsource and sub out and delegate all the things that you really suck at as soon as possible. And number 3, get really good at building that pipeline, getting a CRM, doing the sales and marketing work that you need to, because that pipeline, you want multiple clients in that pipeline at any given point. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go as far as to say is that in a given week, you should be dedicating a certain amount of business, probably, I'm going to say off the bat, maybe somewhere between 2 to 5 hours per week, focused on, I just lost my train of thought there, 2 to 5 hours per week focused on just lead generation and just business building right there. So out of a 40-hour work week or a 50-hour work week or whatever it is, you should be putting aside a certain number of hours towards the sales and marketing and the lead generation portion. And you may be tempted to kind of slide or slack on that number a little bit because, let's say the actual task work or the actual client work or whatever it is going to overwhelm you, and you're going to say, oh, I don't have time to work on sales and marketing. I've got to get this graphic design done, or I've got to get this paper done, or I've got to get this report done. No, do me a favor, make your sales and marketing time non-negotiable. If you were to look at my calendar, you're going to see that I've got the first 3 days set aside for meetings and client work, and then on days like today, I've got live streams and media work and article writing set up, and then on Fridays I've got volunteer time, and on Friday time is my sales time and my planning time for next week. And so I like to do my marketing on Mondays, but I kind of set up the time for it on Fridays to get ready for Monday. And I don't always follow that pattern, but I've got those times set aside in my schedule. So because it's important, because like I said before, sales and marketing is an integral part of business, and you can't slack off on it. I've done it. I've screwed up. I've made those mistakes, and now to me that's the most important thing I can do as a business owner. Is that's probably the one thing you cannot delegate or sub out in the beginning, is someone speaking in your voice, telling you how to how to basically sell your products and services and what your value is. So that's something that you're going to have to do early on when you start your business. I hope this has been helpful for you. If it has, do me a favor, like, comment, but specifically share this with some people you know of that are thinking about starting a business and that could use these tips to not make the major screw-ups. On some future videos, number 1, tell me the topics you want to hear about, and on some future videos, though, I'll go into some more things that you can do when you're starting up your own venture to make sure that you don't make some of the screw-ups that early entrepreneurs make. This has been Patrick Allman from StopDoingNothing.com, and by the way, if you get a chance, hop over to the website, StopDoingNothing.com, and take our productivity quiz. I'm pretty proud of that, and plus I just got a new speaking headshot up on the page, and I'd like to know what you think about it. Share the video. Go out there and be a great entrepreneur, and we will talk to you soon.